These past few months, I have spent far more time than I would care to admit reading mediocre books written by YouTubers. I have been disappointed time and time again. Let down. Hurt even. Some might argue that it's because I have incredibly high standards. Others may argue it's because YouTubers just don't have the raw talent to produce works of literary genius. And you know what? I might have agreed with them until this week. When I came across this book, this masterpiece, this work of genius, it changed my mind. This is a book written by a YouTuber that is perfect in every way, flawless. It's a beautiful, deep, passionate, and yes, erotic love story. I am, of course, talking about Alizee's short story, Piers Morgan's Vegan Lover, available on Amazon Kindle right now for just 99p, and let me tell you, it is worth the money. I'm not being sponsored, I'm not being asked to do this, I just think it's a wonderful book that I want to share with you guys. Many argue that you cannot judge a book by its cover, but in this case, yes, you can. The contents of this text are just as deep, meaningful, and, I'm gonna say it, arousing as the cover itself. Our epic tale opens with a wonderfully vivid description of Good Morning Britain host Piers Morgan scoffing at a heartwarming feel-good news story. You can literally picture the scene in front of you with Alizee's descriptions, you know? Piers' jowls wobbled threateningly at the dog sitting in the studio. People will do anything to get onto Britain's Got Talent. I bet you cut off that dog's legs yourself. You can hear Piers' voice. It's wonderful. It's enthralling. It grips you from the beginning. Merely 3 paragraphs in, we get an absolutely genius intertextual reference to a classic piece of art. It was a freak fire accident at Sea Parks. The dog owner's eyes began to well up at the memory. The nostalgia that this one simple line evokes. It's beautiful.
Fire at a sea park? It's wrecking my head. I mean, if she had said that her parents had drowned, I'd be the happiest man in the world. But a fire at a sea parks? I mean, it opens up a lot of questions.
And the fact that she included such an in-depth backstory for a minor character, I think speaks volumes about the sheer talent that Alizee has as a writer. And then we're introduced rather cryptically to the character that seems to be our antagonist, but ends up being the vegan lover. Because, you know, like all good love stories, we can't expect things to go smoothly for our lovers, you know? It's not how the real world works. There, on the back of a newspaper that had been carelessly left around on an empty stall, was an advertisement featuring the one Piers Morgan hated above all else. Golden, beautiful, mocking. White hot anger flashed before his eyes, and he let out a guttural snarl. God, you can feel the raw passion in that, can't you? You know these feelings that Piers has they're just real, you know? I mean, they say there's a fine line between love and hate, and you can almost feel the electricity here as Piers teeters on the edge of that line. Does he love her? Does he hate her? Is it lust? Is it loathing? You don't know, you can't tell. I'm not even sure he knows. His nemesis taunts him over the next few pages. He sees her everywhere, and the description that follows would not be out of place in a piece of classic Gothic literature. Alizee is easily as good as the likes of Mary Shelley, Bram Stoker. Beautiful, ready? Yeah! He pulled back from the window in horror. There it is again! But it was gone in an instant. The image that was haunting Piers throughout this trying morning. The image that sometimes crept into the darkest corners of his consciousness as he lay sleeping at night, vulnerable to its seduction. And he would sometimes awaken pitching a tent and not know why. He shifted in his seat as his cheeks went even redder, but not from the cold. And then in a shocking twist, we learn Piers' true feelings for this vegan beauty. My golden angel, he spoke softly, fingers tracing the image lightly. Sensually, in fact. He admired the soft curves and the way the light rested on her dry skin. Be good for Daddy. And I'm going to stop there because what follows is a description far too sensual to read in polite company, but I thoroughly recommend you go and read it anyway, because, you know, I don't want to read it out loud and get a little too distracted here. And also, I think it's something that you might want a little alone time with. This is followed by a series of gripping yet poignant subplots which raise some really interesting questions about the environment, animal cruelty, female beauty standards, all very important topics that she covers with ease. She makes them very accessible, raises interesting questions, well worth the read. Whilst all this is happening, Piers has actually gone missing and the reader is left concerned. What's happened to him? Has his vegan nemesis got the better of him? And who even is she? What is she even capable of? You're worrying at this point. You're scared. You're fearful for Piers. Your heart literally races alongside Susanna as she runs over to his home in a taxi, races up the stairs, and hears, and I quote, "a loud moan, like a wounded animal in its death throes, unable to escape the curtain of mortality." And as the story reaches its climax, so does Piers. She bursts through the door to find Piers Morgan crouched over his bed, naked, with his penis dick deep inside a sausage roll. Empty Greggs packets littered his once fine room. It was the scene of a bakery bombshell. And with that, the final twist. I hope you're ready for this. Susanna's knees became too weak to hold herself up. As she collapsed on the floor, she caught the writing on the receipt stapled to the Greggs packet. 20. Corn, vegan, sausage roll. It seems that the vegan lover that Piers claimed he hated the most was also his greatest desire. His biggest weakness is that he was unable to say no to the vegan flaky goodness, the meat-free sausage that he claimed he despised so much and yet couldn't resist. If this is not the greatest love story you've ever heard, I don't know what is. You know, move over Romeo and Juliet. Move over Jane Eyre and Rochester. Move over Bella and Edward. This is where it's at. Piers Morgan and the vegan sausage roll. Now, I've given you a little summary of the story here, but I thoroughly encourage you to go and read it for yourself. Buy it on Kindle. It's 99p. Take it to your bedroom alone. Have some fun times while you read this story. I want you to experience the same roller coaster of emotions that I went on as I read this, you know? I laughed, I cried, I felt strangely aroused, and I went straight back to the beginning and read it all over again. Wonderful. Genius. Couldn't recommend it anymore. Look, I know I've been very sarcastic throughout this video, and this whole kind of review, but in all seriousness, I adore Alizee. I love her videos. I love her sense of humour. She is an absolutely lovely, lovely person. We've spoken a little bit. Her short story here is genuinely really good. It's funny, it's clever, it's got some wonderful little kind of like references to British kind of current events and TV and entertainment, and it's very, very good. Yes, it's a little disturbing in places. Yes, Piers Morgan does have sex with a vegan sausage roll, and it is very vividly described. Hilarious. And most importantly, it is only 99p on Kindle. So I really, really encourage you to go buy yourself a copy, because for one thing, you will not regret it. You will giggle, you will feel a little bit sick, you will enjoy it, but mostly you are going to be supporting an independent, small creator who is incredibly talented, and I cannot recommend that enough, to be honest. Seriously, 99p. Go help her out, go show her some support, and after you've read it, go tweet to Piers Morgan and make sure he reads the book too, because at the minute, the only reaction we have from him is a WTF, and I honestly think if he read this book, it might awaken something inside of him, you know? He might realise his true feelings. He might stop being such a grump and get in touch with his vegan sausage roll loving side. But in all seriousness, like I said before, half jokingly, but in all seriousness, this video isn't sponsored. Alizee hasn't asked me to do this or anything, but I just love her channel, and I think this is a fantastic little thing she's done, and I want to share it with you guys so she can go and get even more support and recognition, because she's wonderful, she's funny, and I'm just kind of gushing here a little bit. Can I suck up to her anymore? Is there anything else I can say? You're a beautiful woman! There we go. Alright, Kyra. You're a beautiful woman too, don't worry. I love you. Anyway, I'll leave a link to the book down in the description below. Please go buy it. Please go support her. Please tweet to Piers Morgan. And I will see you guys again soon. See you later.